What's the boldest move you pulled at school? At my school, nobody notices the janitors. They cleaned up messes, mopped floors, and took out trash, but everyone treated them like they were invisible. So I decided to change that. It started one afternoon after a club meeting. I was leaving the building when I saw Mr. Reggie, one of the night janitors, picking up a smashed juice box outside the gym. I helped him out and made a joke about how the school should hire more workers to help him, but he told me they wouldn't even pay the ones they had. We talked more, and he told me he had been working for over 10 years, but never got a raise or even a thank you, and he was always the first one in the building and the last to leave. That stuck with me, so I came up with a plan. I told my uncle, who works maintenance at another school, that I wanted to borrow one of his old janitor uniforms for a prank, and he gave me the full outfit with a name tag and even an old rolling cart. But I added a mop and a spray bottle so it looked perfect. On Monday morning, I showed up at school at 6:30 a.m. and nobody stopped me or even asked who I was. I just walked right through the front doors like I worked there. The bell rang at 7:15, and by then, I'd already wiped down lockers, collected 2 empty Red Bulls, and unclogged a paper towel wad from the second floor boys' bathroom. But not a single student looked at me, and not one teacher even said hi. By lunch, I heard 5 students talk trash about janitors while walking past me like I wasn't standing right there. One of them dropped an entire wrapper on purpose and laughed and told me to clean up, but I kept going. On Tuesday, I wiped desks between classes, and a teacher thanked me, but then he told me I missed a spot. And later, another teacher walked through the wet floor I just mopped, slipped a little, and yelled at me for making it slippery. But still, no one knew who I was. On Wednesday, I cleaned the bleachers after a pep rally, and there was gum on 7 seats and a nasty tissue stuck in a crack. But the football team walked by and threw popcorn on the ground right in front of me. But I wrote everything down and took pictures, and I kept track of every mean thing people said or did. By Thursday, I had enough data to make my point, but I just needed a stage. And that's when I remembered Friday was the big senior assembly. So I got in touch with Mr. Reggie and told him the truth, and I thought he'd be mad. But he smiled and told me to go for it because it was time for someone to speak up. Friday morning, I showed up in my full uniform like usual, and I rolled my cart into the gym and stood off to the side while the principal made announcements. Then I walked up on stage and I took the mic and told them I'd been working there all week, cleaning their floors and fixing their messes. And the crowd went quiet. I told them nobody noticed because I wasn't actually a janitor, and I pulled off the hat. People gasped, and one girl near the front shouted that it was me. Jaden! I nodded and told her, yeah, it's me. Then I pulled out a stack of note cards and told them what I heard in the 5 days I cleaned. Students saying janitors are just failed teachers or that cleaning was their job, and even left messes for the school slaves to get it. I told them about Mr. Reggie, who worked here for 10 years, but nobody ever thanked him, and he kept our school clean. And then I dropped my badge on the stage and walked off. The principal called me to his office later that day, and I thought he might say thanks, but he told me I was suspended for disruption and unauthorized impersonation of staff. Over the weekend, my speech video went viral on TikTok with 250,000 views in a day, and by Monday, parents emailed the school, and some teachers spoke up too. That same week, the janitors got a small raise, and Mr. Reggie hugged me when he found out, and told me I did more in a week than they had in 10 years.